All right. So, hey, I had a birthday last week, and for about 4 or 5 days there, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but I sure did. I had some serious self reflection. I had to seriously look at myself in the mirror, which I literally didn't do, but figuratively, I looked at myself in the mirror and I said to myself, hey, am I happy? Am I living the happy life? Am I in pursuit of happiness like everybody else talks about this pursuit of happiness? And what is happiness? And how do I achieve this state of being? And I looked around and I said, I am pretty damn happy. I am really happy with my life and what's going on. I'm happy with my children, my business, my people. But yet I felt like I'm always on the gas. I'm always stomping on the gas. I don't like the brake, but sometimes you need to coast. Sometimes I realize, and looking at this, I need to give myself some time. I need to accept the here and now, the reality of today, and embrace that. And then I started to look for something. I started to look for what would help me do that. And I came across meditation. And I thought, oh, meditation. You hear people talk about it all the time. I like working out. I work out regularly. I like eating right and eating healthy and organic. And I raise chickens and I have, farm fresh eggs and free range eggs. I like all that stuff. But what have I been doing for my own peace of mind, my own mindfulness, right? And I started to investigate that. And I want you to start embracing this investigation for yourself because I'm going to go over how you can succeed in private practice without stressing and without guessing. But you need to know oneself first. And you need to know that happiness already exists within you. You just have to let it out. You just have to embrace it. You just have to, you have to stop chasing it. It's not like something you're going to achieve. Oh, when I get married, I'm going to be happy. Well, maybe not. That person doesn't owe you that. Or when I make $1 million, I'm going to be happy. Maybe, but maybe you're going to push the goalpost back like everybody else does. And you're going to want to make $2 million. And then you stomp down on the gas even harder, right? And I understand this cycle of life now. At 56 years old, I'm like, it's not something you pursue. It's something you are. It's something you have. It's something you possess. And how do you possess it? Well, get in tune with yourself. Get in touch with what's most important to you. What is it that you're doing now? You're running a private practice. You're a licensed physical therapist. You're in the business of people. We're in the people business. We're in the people business. So let me go through. I wrote some things I wanted to share with you down so you can live a happy and successful private practice ownership life. Even if you're a student looking to open up a private practice or you're a staff therapist somewhere else and you're like, I'm finally going to do it. I'm not going to keep talking about it. I am going to go in all in, and you're going to risk $50,000 to $100,000 and get your practice up and running, or $35,000 if you're going to go mobile hybrid or whatever you want to do. Whatever it is, it's less than a Tesla. Well, the Plaid, but it's definitely less money than what people spend on cars. So let me show you or ask you, or let's communicate, let's dialogue a little bit here about how you can pull this off. But it starts with you, like I said in the beginning. Happiness is within us. Give yourself some grace. Stay in tune with who you are, and that'll allow you to open up your eyes, open up your windows to let the sun in with what you can do with those beams of sun, those shining rays coming in and heating up your house or heating up your heart. You can do that with your practice. You can do that with the people around you if you think about the fact that it's already within your reach. It's not something you're chasing down on a treadmill. So what's the first thing that I think is important for us to understand is that we are in the people business and we should stop focusing on problems. Stop saying that's a problem, this is a problem, because they're not problems unless you label them as such, unless you call it out as such. They're not. This is a challenge that has just come up that we have to now circumvent or overcome. Here's a barrier or here's a blockage, or here's a detour, or here's a deflection in our direction that we're heading in this direction, or that's in our way of where we're going or what we're trying to achieve or what we're trying to build or develop or, create, right? I have new challenges all the time. Stop focusing on the problems and start focusing on the people that you need to surround yourself with, the team you need to build, that's going to work those situations. I'm always telling my staff and people that they're just situations, they're just challenges. Those are my favorite things. So what's the situation we have to contend with today? Where do we have to go? Who do we have to put on that? When I realized that my time was best spent as the CEO and owner of my company, investing in the team that I was building, mentoring them, guiding them, directing them, spending my time there on coaching and guiding changed everything. Because now I wasn't so interested in spelling out the recipe to solving that challenge or that remedying that situation. That was no longer my game. That was not my focus. My game was how much improvement can I see in Sally, or how much growth can I get from John, or how much skill development can I see from Joan or whomever, right? My challenge was to challenge myself on how I could instill confidence and courage, abilities and skills in the people with whom I've hired. That's my challenge for you. That's my desire for you. Stop guessing, stop stressing by empowering those people around you who bring different skills to the table than yourself. When you do that, you will literally be emboldening them to take on greater challenges and work more independently within your organization. People work for others who believe in them. People feel that you believe in them because you invest in them and because you get out of their way, because you move and you allow them to act in a professional manner for the success of the group, of the organization that you're running, and you stay at the top of that organization board. Do not swoop down and solve the lower ranking problems by personally throwing yourself into the battlefield. Manage the people on the field. That's my advice for you. That is the most successful action I could possibly share with you in this entire podcast today. Moving on from that, do you know what they value most? Like I said, this is all about being in the business of managing people. What do they see, your employees, as means in which you can represent their value on the playing field of your company, of your private practice? Whether we like it or not, people are always going to attribute their compensation as a measuring stick of their value to the organization or possibly to you personally. You have to fight that fight and try to continue to explain that you wish everyone who works for you could be making $1 million this year. I wish everybody could be making $1 million. That's not the case. We're limited. We're restricted. We're confined by the health industry in which we operate. We can't tell Blue Cross to pay us fair market value. Just today, I did a coaching call with a practice owner in the Midwest who was a startup practice owner, and he's getting close to opening his doors. His credentialing and contracting is coming through. And he said, Brian, I just got my contract from Cigna, and they're paying the fee schedule is that they're going to pay me a flat $63 a visit. And I'm like, all right, I know where we got to go. I know what we have to say. I stayed on the phone with him for a half hour, and we role played on how he's going to call Cigna, get past the rep, get to contracting, talk to the contracting supervisor, the decision maker on this fee schedule, on this contract. Don't talk to anybody else but the person who has the power to change that number. And we started role playing what he could say, what he could do. Like, what is the national average right now? Well, it's $81 to $83 a visit. Well, then why are you giving me a fee schedule at $20 lower than the national average? What would the cost or the payout be if I did the same exact treatment with your patient as I'm going to do with a Medicare patient? What would I be getting paid from Medicare? Our program for the elderly, right? And you're got this working class person in a private insurance plan with Cigna, and you're going to pay me even less than what Medicare is paying? Like what is going on? And we just role played about another 5 or 6 key elements that could put him in a good negotiating position. Where did I start off with by going down this road of talking about Cigna paying us a good $20 to $30 less than what a massage therapist is making with a 2-year internet program or some associate program compared to your doctorate 5-6 year program? Well, you need to share this with your staff. You need to share with them that there's Medicare cuts, there's caps, there's fixed rate payers. It's not like a restaurant where, as the price of the produce goes up, you just change the price on the menu and people are going to pay it. We don't have that luxury. So share with your staff that you wish you could compensate them and show their true value to you as the organization by paying them $1 million, but it can't be that as their measuring stick as to how valuable they are to your practice. So you're going to say, well, Brian, if I can't represent how valuable they are to my practice based on compensation, what can I do? Well, you can alter the compensation to the greatest benefit that you can enjoy from it by putting a pay for performance model out there. Salary plus benefits is not going to do it. There's no way you're going to keep your doors open by 4%, 3% increases in salary plus benefits when your stagnant income per visit is the way it is today. It's just not the way, it's just math. It just doesn't work. So put them on a pay for performance model. So as they perform in a better and more voluminous manner, they're going to get a greater level of exchange for themselves. Now, I don't mean it's the treadmill of life, like the more visits, more money, more units, more money. That's not what I'm saying. It's more quality, better production, better clinical efficiency. A true pay for performance model doesn't work like a shared risk model. It's completely different. Number 2, time flexibility. Your staff is very interested in seeing how you appreciate them as a person, as a family member, as a community member, as part of the society in which you live in, by giving them some time flexibility, giving them some flex hours, giving them the ability to go to the doctors, take their parents to the physician or their child, or get their dog into the vet if there would be emergency. And how could you play with that? How could you work around situations like that if they are a salaried employee? Even if they're an hourly employee, what kind of policies do you have that you could better help them with some time management? They're going to definitely value that and see that they're getting something in greater value here working for you than they might find down the street. Loyalty, self-pride, acknowledgments, and validations. Based on surveys, most employees will not look for another job if they feel acknowledged within your practice for who they are as a person and validated for what they know to do, for how skilled they are at the craft that they're practicing for you. Now, this could be a front desk coordinator who just does circles around that scheduling book, who just collects everything over the counter and knows it. They know it cold. They don't allow unauthorized visits. They double check their work. They have good quality control measures. They have good time management skills. Are you validating them for that performance? How are you validating them? What awards are they winning in the monthly staff meetings? What Starbucks gift cards are they getting? And for what benchmarks? What bonuses are you able to pay? What are you able to do to actually get them to strive to achieve greater outcomes because they know they're being noticed? Everyone likes to see their name in lights. What are you doing to put these rock stars in lights? And what message are you sending to the other staff members that are just stuck in third gear and they never shift higher? That is your goal. This is my question for you. What are you doing to enhance your engagement with your staff to get them to feel within their DNA that they're a valuable member of your group, of your organization? Not just because of their clinical skills, but also because of who they are as a person. One of the things that I will never forget is that when I got out of PT school, I took a job with 2 guys who'd been out 25 years. They took a liking to me 3 months in, and they sent me to 33 Con Ed courses. And I worked for them for 5 years because when I was at my 3rd year anniversary, one of the therapists who had recently joined the practice, who was out 8 years, I was like their go-to mentor. I was like their resource. And I'll never forget that person being like, you have more skills, Brian, more knowledge, greater ability, greater clinical development at 3 years out than I do at 8 years out. And I attributed that to the two owners who took me in and taught me all the manual therapy and flew me all over that country and invested in me. And I invested back with them. I was loyal to them for 5 years straight. I would never have thought of working anywhere else. And I could have made $10,000, $15,000 more per year somewhere else easily. I could have left at any time. And I never considered it because they believed in me and I believed in the practice I was a part of. And, people knew it. I had a waiting list. I had doctors writing the script with my name on it. They made me that. They built me to that. What are you doing for your staff to get them to that point? How are you positioning them at the top of their game, at the front of the line? Because that is loyalty right there. They will reciprocate with that. People need to know that they rank. They need to know that they stack up against the industry standard or their peers. How are you helping them to see that? How are you helping them to strive for more? That's what you got to ask yourself. What have you built inside your practice that's going to enable them to feel that way? One of the things you could do, bullet point 4, I guess we would say, tip for professional success and in this regard, is how good are you at weeding out the bad ones? See, if you're going to keep the good apples in your practice, they need to see that the bad folks are shipping out, that it matters, that you notice, that you don't tolerate it, that you don't accept, mediocrity, that you're literally running ads for every position in your company 365 days a year. Whether you have an opening or not, you should be running those ads, preferably in the free sections, in the free outlets, whenever you can. Super important that you show your staff that you're constantly looking to up the team, improve the quality of the players, investing in them and replacing the people who aren't making the cut. That's a sense of pride right there in your practice. That will help for sure build that team loyalty that we're looking for. If you're unable to address the subpar staff members, then you'll be the effect of the lowest common denominator of person that you're allowing in your practice. You literally will be the effect of that person. So let me help you. Let me give you some tips. Let me give you some suggestions to look for to know that you possibly or potentially have somebody in your rank and file that you need to weed out. So here, I wrote a little list. So I'm going to just if you feel like you're walking on eggshells around a particular staff member in your practice, then you have somebody you need to address something with, because you should never feel like that in your own practice. Would you rather let something go and sweep it under the carpet rather than address it with someone, pull them aside and say, we have to have a talk? I observed something out there in the gym the other day, and I heard some comments and way in which you were communicating with a patient that I didn't really appreciate, and I don't believe that the patient did either, and I think you can do better. I think you're built to do better. I think you're made to do better, and I'm having this conversation because I want you to be better. See, so I had no problem flying down low altitude and saying this wasn't acceptable, and then pulling the plane up into the clouds and saying, but you could be above it. You can rise above that. It was noticed. I noticed it, and here's what we can do about it. And here's what it's going to look like moving forward from here. So this situation, like I said, not problem. This situation doesn't repeat itself. To me, that builds a lot. Although sometimes you want to do that and you know it and you see it. Maybe this is you, maybe you've experienced this, but you justify it away. You see somebody who's that redheaded stepchild that's running with scissors down the hall, causing problem with other employees, causing upsets with you, being frustrated with that person's behavior and conduct personally and professionally within the group, within the organization. And you justify by saying, yeah, but they're a great therapist. They got good manual skills. That's my pelvic floor specialist, or that's my TMJ specialist, or that's my manual therapy specialist, or my OCS trained person. And you justify away their staff hat, how well they get along with others, by elevating their post hat, how good they are at practicing their license or doing their post at the front desk. Let me tell you, that's cancer within your practice. You're allowing cancer to fester because that person is like the prickly little microbe that's bumping into other cells like a antioxidant or whatever, and you need to put a probiotic on that and get that person out of your office, neutralized, because they're not interested in being a part of the team and advancing the cause for the team. They're more interested in being interesting or being pursuing the goals and objectives for oneself. They're interested in themselves. They're not really interested in seeing what they can do to contribute to the mission, the purpose, the goals of the organization. So if you fear losing them, you will justify, but they're so good at their post. Or you may fear the loss of revenue. Well, if I let that person go, it's going to be 90 days before I can get somebody else in here, or maybe 6 months, and we're going to lose all that revenue. Or if I let them go, I'm going to have to take a full caseload. I'm just getting comfortable working my split hours. Justification, justification, justification. You will lose more people in the long run. You will lose more money in the long run. You are inviting more stress to yourself and to others. That is not leadership. That is justification. That is you trying to make yourself feel better about doing nothing, about not addressing it. That's unacceptable. If you're going to be a leader, then lead and show people that you have zero tolerance for anything below this bar. Now, I'm not saying you just let somebody go right when they mess up. 3 strikes and you're out. Give them a employee improvement program, set objectives, set timelines in which they have to meet those objectives, and work with them side by side to develop them in that area. People will respect the kindness and the caring and the consideration and the concern you have for seeing your staff develop around you, for seeing your staff actually elevate their game, both personally and professionally. But I'm telling you, that's on you. This is what we talk about in Mega Academy. And for those of you who are going to CSM, man, that's just like a couple weeks away here in Boston, 2024. I'm going to be there. Come seek me out. Go to my talk. Let's talk afterwards. I want you to really digest everything, not just from the podcast, but get engagement, meet some of my staff, and see what you can do to develop yourself. Moving on from here, there are some other tall tale signs that you have somebody you have to weed out. Are they only interested in their own self-interests and their own personal gains? They're not really interested in you expanding another income vertical within the practice. You maybe bringing on pediatric division or an aquatics mission. They're like, whatever. They're not interested in learning about it. I literally had somebody tell me that they brought the newbie into their clinic. They trained all their staff. 3 of the therapists use it like every single day. It's grown and expanded. It's helped so many other people. And another therapist like, I'm not touching it. I'm not interested. I'm just going to go do this. I'm like, who does that person think they are? Like, you've proven that you have a device that is in the best interest of your patients, getting outcomes that nobody else would have gotten in the time period that they're getting them. And this person is so arrogant that they're like so full of themselves that they're not willing to avail themselves to an advanced technology, a new clinical procedure. See, that's not the person you want to have in your office. It's not like you want to force treatment methodologies down people's throats, but in some cases, in some instances, if you've proven and shown and demonstrated that you have a tool, a mechanism to help more people quicker, faster, with greater results, and the person is so arrogant they don't want to avail themselves to that, then you have to remind them of, well, why did you go to PT school? Why are you a therapist if you're not looking to help as many people as possible in the shortest period of time you can? Like, are you that far off course? Are you, the owner, able to have that conversation with your staff member? Are you able to address a topic like that and hold your ground? Are you able to share with your employees what the philosophy here, that it's a patient-centered practice? Patient outcomes matter most. Employee satisfaction equally matters most. But individualism of what's good for me but not for thee is not acceptable. That is unacceptable in my book. That person is looking for a self-interested gain instead of a generally broad benefit and gain for everybody within that practice by learning how to better help patients get better quicker, and then train other staff members on how to do the same. Hey, if they have other great clinical skills, you're not going to strip that away from them. You're not taking anything away. You're just shocked by the unwillingness to add anything to their repertoire of helping more patients. Do they like to play devil's advocate? Do employees like to tell you all the reasons why something won't work? Do they like to criticize quickly? Do they like to speak in broad generalities? Do they like to bring up past failures and others, past mistakes you might have made? What kind of people are these? Like, why would you want this person on your payroll, right? So look for these kind of markers. These are the people you want to weed out. Moving off of that, though, if you're going to really succeed without guessing and stressing, how good are you and how hard are you working at hiring the best people? What books have you read? What strategies have you employed? What tools do you have? Do you have a status sheet? Do you have 8 specific questions that you ask? We have a 5-phase hiring program. We have role plays that we do the week of interviews, so the person going in the interview room is ready to handle any objection, any request, anything that comes up. Are you running your ads, like I said, 365 days a year? Are you building a student pipeline? I mean, this is all part of you retaining good staff and being fully staffed on a regular basis all throughout the year. What process do you have in terms of honing your interview skills? Like I said, we use role play. We have an internal learning management system, which statistics and surveys have shown businesses that have an internal learning management system like Meg Academy, or one that you can build, which took us a lifetime to build this with all the tools, always do better than businesses that don't, because they have a built-in educational curriculum to expand the skill set of each individual member of their team, to invest in them both personally and professionally. That's what a learning management system should do, and achieve greater outcomes of performance as a result through consistency, and full expansion of comprehension. Last but not least, we talked about compensation. Salary plus benefits is dying, and it's dying fast. I can't stress enough how important it is at this day and age for you to have a pay-for-performance model for every position in your company. Every position needs a pay-for-performance model so that you're rewarding an up statistic. You're rewarding an overachiever, and they are feeling a little entrepreneurial within your business, within your practice. Those are the people you want. Entrepreneurs, not people who just want to coast. Flexibility in their schedule, expansion in their skill sets, increased ability and opportunity, which is what you owe them, an opportunity, not a guarantee, but an opportunity for them to make greater compensation based on their quality of performance, their clinical efficiency, and their productivity. How much do they actually exchange with their patient? Have you drilled the most common objections when you're doing an interview? Do you know what people might object to, what they might ask? Do you have your list of concessions lined up? If somebody says, well, I know this position, you just offered me $80,000. I'm looking to make $90,000. Is there any way that there's some room here? What's your response to that? I'm looking for 4 weeks off, not the 3 weeks off you're offering. Any way we can make that work? What's your response to that? Know what the acceptable levels of exchange are when you're making your offers with your new hires. When you're doing a performance review with an existing employee, they're going to go and pull Department of Labor and Statistics and throw crap in your face about what the average salary is. That shit is crap. Oh, I'm sorry. That stuff is garbage. It is so skewed, statistically speaking, with franchises, corporates, physician-owned, hospital-centered owned. And even when they say private practice, it's not true. They couldn't sift that out if their life depended on it. They take into account, relocation fees, sign-on bonuses, all kinds of stuff. So know what your industry, your market dictates, and exchange an abundance with your employee. Like, give them a good compensation model, but have that two-way street conversation. What is it that they're producing and exchanging, and what is it that you're exchanging back with them, like, for that level? That's why pay for performance is so great. The more better they perform, the more exchange they get. It's just perfect. It's really good. Do you have an employment ladder and a ladder of opportunities for them to advance within your practice, within position or within skills or within responsibility, maybe within management, maybe within mentoring, right? They become a senior therapist and they're mentoring the young whippersnappers coming in under them, and they're benefiting from that. Last but not least, and I'll wrap it up here, we talked all about you looking outward and helping your staff member be a better member of the team, professionally developing them, personally developing them, putting an employment ladder in front of them that they can move up and they can get greater exchange in the process because they're developing a greater level of proficiency for your practice. But last but not least, I wanted to leave this focus back on you. I'm going to ask you some questions. If you're going to have super staff and the lowest stress you could possibly have as a practice owner in private practice, you should be crossing the following bridges. Bridge 1, what are you doing to be more innovative? What are you doing to innovate your practice? Innovate in terms of systems, in terms of structure, in terms of marketing, in terms of outreach, and the list goes on. What new tech are you pursuing? Is it tech in clinical delivery systems? Is it tech in your administrative functions, your administrative responsibilities? When was the last time you sat back and looked at your systems of operation and you critically evaluated, are we doing things in the best way possible? Are we operating the most efficiently? Wouldn't it be better if we outsource our virtual front desk so we only pay for what we use? It is so hard today for me to afford somebody who can run my front desk, stay longer than a year, and not be at $25 an hour or $23 an hour for a $15 an hour position, so to speak. Raises, reviews, bad hair days, drama, sick, vacation, holiday pay, all of this stuff that comes with with the front desk, with your front desk. You can only hire people within 30-minute drive of your office. What chance do you have of having a high caliber person in that zip code? Virtual front desk, outsourcing billing, outsourcing marketing, outsourcing front desk, and having a team of people inside your office that are just clinically based, clinically focused, patient focused, community focused changes everything. You're not good at that stuff anyways. Why should you even take it on, right? Think about that. Evaluate your systems. Expanding your income verticals. When was the last time you brought in an additional service and an additional income vertical? You should have 3 income verticals in your practice if you really want to see it succeed. 3 income verticals is key. That's a key recipe for success. Last but not least, what are you doing to evaluate how your practice is stacking up against the competition? What are you doing to see how you stack up against other business leaders in your community? Are you going to the Chamber of Commerce? Are you reading a book? Are you reading 55 books a year? Are you setting aside personal and professional development time for yourself, a minimum of 2 hours a week, every single week? Are you reading all your magazines? I mean, I've got all the Impact magazines right here. I read them all. I read them. I love the paper ones. That digital's fine, but I just like highlighting and going over it and over it. I just think that's the best way to go. What are you doing? What are you doing to demonstrate to your staff that you're cutting edge, that you're developing, growing, and climbing that mountain of knowledge, skills, and ability so that you could pass it forward, pay it forward, pass it on down for their benefit? So that's my message for you this week. You do not have to guess. You do not have to stress out about having a successful practice. 5 key elements to success is personal development for you, the owners and leader of this business. Put in a great environment, solid structure, awesome personnel, and cutting edge systems of operations. Starts with you first, and then the 4 keys of business success following. I hope you got a lot out of this. I hope and wish and pray that you do take some time to give yourself some grace. Know that you have happiness within you. You can give it to others. You can share it. You can live it. You're not in pursuit of it. You already have it. Just allow yourself to look inward and pass it forward, pay it forward by investing in those around you and then getting out of the way and really supporting them as a team. Problems will become situations. Situations will become successes. That's it for you guys. I hope to see you next week. I hope you enjoy this message. If you have anything in mind that you would like to see in our podcast on our YouTube channel, rate us, comment in the comments below. Please click like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. The algorithm means everything to me. It allows me to reach more people just like you. And best of all, I will be at CSM. I will be at PPI. I'm always at these conferences. Come see me. Come talk to me. Come chat with my team. And let's see what we can do to help you succeed in business so that you live the life you've always envisioned for yourself.